Ahem. There was this show about a mild-mannered janitor dog, your father, who entered a filing cabinet to practice kung fu. Your father, he also drives an oriental car that comes out of a garbage can. Need I say it again? You may think it's strange, and it is, but Hong Kong Phooey gave me terminal cancer. I'm in the hospital right now, dying, using my pinky finger to press the keys to share the story with my voice. I worked in the Human Resources Department at Hanna-Barbera and saw at an early age they were interviewing dogs, only to mysteriously find free Chinese food on my desk and no dogs in the vicinity. I never should have eaten that Kung Pao Fido. Anyway, that's not what gave me cancer. It was Hong Kong Phooey, #1 super guy. I'll tell you one thing. This show is a bunch of Hong Kong Phooey, as in bullshit. And I'll talk about the waste products of cows and some immature "your mother is a cow" joke. I have no reason to insult you, but you must forgive me, as my internal organs have been permanently scarred by the fiery hot Kung Pao Fido and assorted cancers I received from a mysterious Hong Kong package labeled The Lost Hong Kong Phooey VHS. But it wasn't a VHS. It was a dead puppy wrapped in bacon. Admittedly, I hadn't eaten in a few weeks, so I devoured it hungrily, licking my lips and using the provided chopsticks. Janitors at Hanna-Barbera earn about as much as a woman named Barbara, and if you know anything about the women's pay gap, I rarely spend more than $3 bill on a hooker. If you want to know how nice of a hooker you can get for $3 bill, just go on Craigslist. Browse the farm and garden section. In fact, I heard your mother might even be posting on there in the diseased bovine category. Hey-oh. Just kidding. I'm talking about purchasing used and rusted hose. You might think that's a sick burn, but keep in mind that I'm also a burned victim who has leprosy and cancer. Now that's a sick burn. Someone would say God punked me when he took away my ability to urinate while standing. I cannot urinate while standing. I jolted out of the bed at once, demanding the nurse to give me the Hong Kong Phooey VHS tape. After being heavily sedated, the nurse offered me a beer and let me touch her soft, soft breasts. I didn't know they served rubber buns and liquor at this establishment. I used my 3 remaining teeth, I have oral cancer, to push the VHS tape in and press play with my tongue. I started eating some delicious surgical gloves, latex chewing gum, as we call it in the biz. 3 dogs did a conga line outside in the hallway. Who trained these dogs? At first I thought it was a canine-themed porn tape titled All Dogs Go to Semen. But then I put my glasses on and realized, it was a Hong Kong Phooey DVD. These were 3D vision glasses, bitch, but reality is already in 3D, so it made no sense. Unless you're blind in one eye. I jammed the DVD in there forcibly, used some leftover peanut butter to glue it into the video home system's ribbon reader. And it played. Oh boy, ever did it play. Hong Kong Phooey was just sitting there, shaking, scared. What he said next concerned me. "Machine elves are devouring me from the inside. They promised me they'd mine for gold, but they didn't tell me the gold was inside of me, and now it's too late. Real elves are coming for you next." The doctors took his temperature, and it read a piping hot 277 degrees. The doctors went into the kitchen and began placing Hong Kong Phooey on a hot griddle. Why would doctors be cooking? Doctors are supposed to heal you, not cook you. And that's exactly what Hong Kong Phooey said next. "Doctors are supposed to heal you, not cook you." Then the narrator, that strange disembodied voice, spoke. Doctors are supposed to heal you, not cook you. Then the nurse walked in and watched me watching a children's cartoon in my 40s and remarked about how doctors are supposed to heal and not cook the patients. The sizzling dog tried to perform kung fu, but the paw wasn't strong enough as the doctors placed onions and scallops on the sizzling plate. Go get 'em, Hong Kong. There was an audible gas noise as the dog was cooking. Intense burns and sizzling as Hong Kong Phooey's fur burned away, revealing bones and glistening canine teeth. Magilla Gorilla walked in and began chewing on his leg. Apes were eating Hong Kong Phooey. Magilla exclaimed that he didn't feel so well, picked up a banana, and some very shitty animation occurred. The shittiest animation I'd ever seen. Magilla Gorilla had shit himself. Magilla Gorilla had shit himself. He lay there wheezing as his lungs compressed, and the doctor walked in and placed 2 cartoon X's over his eyes. We have to do an autopsy, the doctor said, and then shoved a golf tee into Magilla Gorilla's bleeding stomach. He placed a golf ball on it and began golfing, and the golf ball broke the window without any reaction from the cooks in the restaurant. Just stared as each time the camera cut back, there was another identical Asian fry cook standing there smiling. What a bunch of fucking Hong Kong Phooey this fucking tape was. I wanted my fucking money back. But I'd racked up $236,000 in medical bills just sitting there watching this prolonged VHS tape, sipping a Corona beer as the nurse set up a hammock and began playing some tropical music. A Hawaiian luau began as a small tiki mask appeared in the corner of the hospital. Ooka ooka. Then my sandwich spoke to me, though at a low, muffled tone. It's me, it's Hong Kong Phooey. They tried to turn me into a hospital dinner, but I'm alive. I opened the sandwich to see his sliced open dog face communicating with me telepathically. The nurse came in and tried to take the tray, but I told her it was an emotional support sandwich, and she left, angrily slamming the privacy curtain and perhaps fearing a lawsuit. Then she came back and said something that sent a shiver up my spine. Dr. Jetson will see you now. What? What? I'm still alive, son. It was Hong Kong Phooey. Lord Jetson set all this up. He's not a medical doctor. He came from the future to show you his genitals. I screamed. I could barely move, though. I'm in the hospital for cancer. George Jetson entered. He saw the sandwich, leered skeptically, and dumped it in the trash. I'm not garbage. I'm Hong Kong Phooey. What George said next concerned me. People don't clean up their messes around here, and then the sandwiches become animate beings and communicate telepathically with the patients. He continued. A marble fucking ride just told me the woman on floor 3 to jump out a window. Sentient pretzels began screaming that all of the universe is in pain. It was joking, insulting me in my Pretzel Man porno script. He picked up a pretzel and jammed it into a syringe and then injected me with pretzel crumbs. He just kept stabbing me with a syringe as his eyes grew hot and red as coals. Can't seem to find a vein, he mumbled. Use Kung Fu, the sandwich mumbled telepathically from a garbage can. Use the Kung Fu move I taught you. You never taught me Kung Fu. Phoo. I just met that sandwich 5 minutes ago. What George said next sent a shiver up my cancer-laden spine. Dr. Rosie, prepare me 20 cc's of mayonnaise and fetch his second dinner. Oh, second dinner? I'd already eaten. Use the Kung Fu? The sandwich in the garbage can kept mumbling. The second dinner tray appeared in 2 shriveled meatball-shaped apparatus lay there in a fine mushroom sauce. You need your strength. Everyone knows mushrooms cure cancer. He took out a photograph of a man dressed as Super Mario slumped over the toilet dead with a visible ass-cracking frame. He shoved the meatball-shaped meat product into my mouth. What Hong Kong Phooey said next shocked me. Those are his testicles. He cut them off and he's feeding them to you. I puked, vomited, fell over, huffed and wheezed. What's the matter? George said. Cat got your tongue? Hong Kong Phooey was a dog. What in God's name is going on? Suddenly my insides felt like warm Gorilla Glue and Sunday morning choir music. Use Kung Fu, the sandwich murmured. And then he dropped his pants. A golden, shining, holy light appeared from under his shriveled 1-inch cock. Everything I ever believed in, God, Jesus, the Easter Bunny, Fred Astaire, was there. The 6-chambered sack had evolved beyond a time and place and appeared to be everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. The wrinkled entity assumed a human form and smiled at me. Finally, the testicle spoke. I have taken the form of something you understand. I come from a place removed from time and space itself, where only your sperm count matters. There is no war or violence here, only the warm embrace of a constantly shifting sack and the populations that define them. Famine, hunger, poverty. We have no food chain. The brutal losing struggle you were born into is merely a cataclysmic wink of stardust in the cosmic scale of endless joy you experience. Beyond the entrenchments of your fabled primate occipital lobe are the answers to dimensions within dimensions. No time to measure because there are no clocks to tick, no darkness because there is no light, and no pain because there is no pleasure. We have ascended beyond the mind and body, and even the concept of the number 1, eliminating the need for the individual. Come now. Join us. The mothership is waiting. Then I remembered what Hong Kong Phooey said, and I realized what he meant. We are all dogs, and the power of Kung Fu is inside all of us. Hong Kong Phooey, number 1 super guy, never needed to enter that filing cabinet to practice Kung Fu. He was Kung Flu. The filing cabinet just symbolized the oppressive social constructs that are assembled to stop us from fighting back. That was when I remembered the bottle of hot sauce from earlier. Using my 1 remaining finger, I shook, and a tiny droplet of hot sauce dripped out, flowing, falling, landing on his right testicle, its hand still outstretched, waiting for me to join him. At first, nothing happened, but then I heard George's blood-curdling screams. The hot sauce sizzled on his swollen 46-chamber testicle. As holes began to appear and it burst into flames. Live animals began pecking and clawing as the sack tore itself open like Christmas wrapping paper. And I heard audible human screams as his boy Elroy, daughter Judy, and Jane, his wife's ghosts, squealed a squeal for the ages. His nutsack continued to burn away away, revealing human skulls and bones, a Hispanic doctor's coat, and several half-eaten chihuahuas. I stood up, the cancer no longer hurting me, as George stumbled out of the hospital, crawling away in defeat. He dragged his worn and ruined nutsack like a drunken Santa Claus, crawling on his hands and knees after the elves have had enough of his wine-cooler hijinks. What happened next sent a shiver up my spine. The sandwich spoke. That's the trouble with communicating telepathically, son. You never know who's communicating and who isn't. I screamed. The George Jetson body the coroners were identifying? It was a George Jetson Halloween costume. They lifted the mask revealing Hong Kong Phooey, or maybe just a regular dog who had electrodes attached to his missing dog genitals and would receive a Pavlovian electric shock each time he failed to follow the instructions with a woofing tape recorder attached to his neck. It was just a normal dog. The samurai belt did nothing. The sandwich. Wait. The sandwich! I crawled over to the garbage can, huffing, wheezing, puking, and all that shit, and demanded to know what I had eaten. I used my one remaining hand to sift through the trash and pull out the sandwich, lifted the slice of bread, and saw the face of George Jetson imprinted on a slice of bologna. He was smiling. He looked slightly sinister as the Hanna-Barbera logo was even in the corner on the bologna. "Cancer my ass!" The cops walked in. "Tell it to the judge. You're under arrest for animal cruelty and faking cancer." I wasn't faking cancer. It wasn't me on that website. The cop looked like Elroy from the Jetsons, all grown up. Was that a pinwheel hat? And the sandwich was collected as evidence. "Use Kung Fu," the sandwich whispered. "Use the Kung Fu," the sandwich snickered. As I saw a tape recorder fall from the bottom of it.